Hey guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house on a Sunday morning. And you might have noticed I've got four layers on today because it snowed overnight in Manchester. And yeah, well, I've got to do something. I'm inside, well, reasonably warm, but my guest today sat outside, and there's a reason behind this. And we've got the fantastic Andrea with us today. Now, Andrea Hailwood. Andrea has got two books out today, and we're going to talk about this shortly. But to give us a feel for the location, she's actually sat outside near where the books are set. Now, Andrea, before we start, do you want to move your camera around so everyone can see what the area is like where we are?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is my garden. This is the abundant garden out of the book of the ancestors. So if you can see, it's like a winter wonderland. Very snowy. I'll stand up. Very snowy. You see the snow? You see the
Wow.
snow?
Can you?
Very snowy.
Oh yeah, I think you've had more. 'Cause obviously, I'm looking at the snow. I'm not moving my laptop to show everybody outside now where we are. We had about 6 inches overnight, and I think yours is not as bad as I was actually, but it's still cold, isn't it? So,
Yeah, it's been raining now, so it's like
uh,
it's disappearing. It's been into the sludge. It's
oh
sludgy.
yeah, yeah, we've got the same. We've got the same as well. So, but hey, it's still beautiful to look at. Just a bugger to get around on. Definitely with that. So, now Andrea, we've got a bit of ground to cover today with your two books we're going to talk about shortly.
Yeah.
But there's a good story behind this, and I want you to tell people where all this creativity came from. I think it's really, really interesting to start with. So take us back in time.
Well, it started during lockdown. Well, before lockdown, actually, because I've always been interested in gardening. And you want to know about the little girl next door?
Oh, of
She
course,
said to
yeah,
me,
of course.
Andrea, Andrea, why are you always in the garden? You don't have to be in the garden every single day. And I was like, well, I do because I want the garden to look nice. And it was gorgeous weather and it was hot. Remember the COVID year? It was just amazing. Why would you want to be inside during that? So I said, well, I do actually need to be in the garden every single day because I'm making an Instagram. And I'd not actually got the Instagram going then. So I had to make this Instagram. So that was the start of it. And then that was during the summer. And then by the time the autumn came, I was posting like every single day, basically, all the garden, everything that I was doing. And I bought a big mound of tulip bulbs, a big massive box of them
Wow.
on sale. And I dug them all in, spent 2 days digging all these in, blisters on my hands and everything. And then the next day, the third day, I looked out the window and all the tulip bulbs had all been dug up and eaten. And that was the squirrels. So I was like, this is no good. All that time, all that money wasted. And these squirrels are causing havoc every single day. And then I thought, well, if they're not hungry, they won't eat all my stuff and dig up all my stuff. So I got them a little parasol, red parasol on a picnic table with a little silver bowl, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I've filled it full of nuts, monkey nuts, and all types of nuts. And then they just go there all the time and they eat all the stuff and basically leave all my stuff alone. So, and then I had one, this is how we interacted with the squirrels. So I had a nut like this, and the squirrel came. Oh, I have to get another one. And the squirrel came and he was on the bin. And I just held the nut out like that. And he just came up and took it straight out of my hand. So that's how the friendly started. So that was Friendly, the squirrel, because he was obviously friendly. And that's how the whole thing started. So instead of video me garden, I just started videoing the squirrels and put them on Instagram. And there's hundreds of videos on Instagram of all these squirrels.
It's
So
it's
that's how it
it's
all
a it's a
started.
wonder to see your Instagram, but the Instagram feed and also your Facebook page shows all these little snips, squirrels, because it's wonderful, wonderful stuff. So, and
There's not as
but
much on Facebook. There's a lot more on Instagram.
yeah, definitely.
Andrea in the garden.
Yeah, we'll re-mention
Yeah.
at the end of it because well worth a subscription to that because it's beautiful for that one straight away. And
Yeah.
it's but let's say okay, we're here to about your books today, really, and obviously there's two out at the moment. And
Yeah.
I know there's more on the way, but we will talk about the later ones later.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, first of all, then tell us where the idea for these books came from, the series. Then,
Well, um, It started about like 2 years ago, exactly, probably about 2 years ago. And I work freelance and the work had pretty much slowed down. So I was like, well, I need to do something. So I'm not going to work in an office. There's no way that's going to happen. So I was just mooching around in the internet, just looking at stuff. And I saw this competition for a kid's book. And I thought, I am doing that and I am going to win this money. It's £10,000. I am actually going to win this money. So I started like thinking, and I was like, what am I going to write? I didn't know what I was going to write about at the time, but I was like, I am going to win this money. I'm going to write a book. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to win the money. Everything's going to be fine. And then I thought, well, there's only one thing I can really write about, and that's the squirrels. So I don't know
Oh,
where the inspiration came from. I just woke up one morning and I was like, well, a few mornings like, oh, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen. And it took me a while with Bentley, to be fair. He's like the main character of the first book to get that all put together. So from January, so it's basically took me about a year to write that book. And me and Cam went to Spain in the summer. We spent 2 months in Spain in the summer, which was just magical. And then all the inspiration just came up, like the boring beetle, like that was actually happened. So in the story, Friendly wakes up and he's got a pyramid of sawdust on his nose where he thinks that Big Al is up there making a tray above his head, and we actually saw the pyramids of the sawdust because the boring beetle larvae were eating in Mum's table, and it was falling off the
oh,
table, and it was underneath the table. So that's where that came from, that idea. And yeah, the big tree. I'll show you in a minute. There's a massive tree behind me here. This is where the squirrels stray is actually. I've got a eucalyptus in front of me, but in Spain at the back is a massive, like the biggest eucalyptus tree you could ever imagine, and that's where the boring beetles are. You can see the holes, actual holes in the wood, and that's where
oh,
the inspiration from that came from.
wow.
Just
That's it.
it's just like noticing things like that, and you can just put it all together. I'll show you the greenhouse in a minute where the actual singing frog, and that singing frog, it actually happened. There was a frog trapped in the greenhouse.
Well, I tell you what, before we go on to what the more detail about the book, go and show us these then. Take us round, okay? Give us a tour then,
Want
right?
me to show you?
Yeah, choose now, because
Right,
I
I'll tell
will
you.
forget to ask you otherwise, yeah.
I know, I don't want to forget. So this is the biggest tree. Everyone hates Leylanders because it grow absolutely massive, and this tree must be about, I don't even know, maybe like 60 foot tall. I'll show you the trunk, like just the absolute. This is in the bottom of my garden. So this is the trunk. You see how big
Wow.
the trunk. I don't think you can
Wow.
even
Good grief.
hug
Wow.
can't even hug it. It's that big. So if you look, and there's actually squirrel strays up there and magpies, and that's I mean, the inspiration from it just comes from noticing things. I'm going to stand right back over there, and I'll show you the actual side. And people don't like it because it's just so big. I love it. Like, oh, Ken says all the time, "We should cut that tree down." I'm like, why would you cut the tree down? And he says, "That's big it is." Oh, let me get the camera together. You can't even see the top of it. Oh, let me walk up a bit further up. Can you see it?
Yeah, can.
That's how big the tree
Wow.
is.
Good
That is
grief.
massive. So you've got squirrels in there. We've got woodpeckers in there. We have one year we had two doves, which was just fantastic. All sorts, magpies, blackbirds singing at the top. Well, no, it's really cold out here. So I'll show you the. So that's the big tree. This is the eucalyptus tree that Bentley climbs up when Lance goes missing, and everyone thinks Lance is stuck in this shed, and his little face pops out.
Oh,
There's the little window that his face pops.
brilliant stuff. Oh, good
There's a
grief.
greenhouse. There's a greenhouse, and it's probably in the story the green. It's a mess. So this is probably what it looked like in the story when it's all being cleaned out. And the frog was actually in the corner. I don't know if you can see, but the frog was actually in that corner
Oh, good grief.
underneath a plastic bag, and this is when we got back in Spain for 2 months. So whether it had been there for 2 months, I don't know, but it was still alive and it was still,
Oh, wow.
you know,
Incredible
making frog
stuff.
noises. Yeah, so I mean, you can't believe. Well, I don't know how long it had been in there, but yeah, it was there. So, so that we call that the secret garden because
That's it's brilliant.
it's all the way down there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
this is this
It's
is the not secret part.
oh,
So
it's
there's a
brilliant.
pond where a squirrel fell in one time, and a
Oh,
squirrel
wow.
actually did fall in the pond. And I'm going to show you this red umbrella. So this is the first thing that I bought for this for the squirrels, but they need a new one actually. Move the camera. Can you see it?
Oh, yes, I can. Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Can you
Move a bit
see?
more. That's it. You got it now. You got it now. Brilliant stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So that is like it's more than I'm stuck in trees here. So it's more than 2 years old that actually. So yeah, so that's there. Um yeah, that's it. The black bucket is over here, which is what everyone drinks out of. The squirrels, all the neighborhood cats.
Your
The
your bit.
black
Yeah. Oh,
bucket,
yeah.
you
It's
see.
your bit of community service. That one, basically. All the animals are looking around, isn't it?
Yeah, all the animals are in there. Everyone's cat's in here. If anyone's got a missing cat, it's here. We've got a
Brilliant.
couple of cats actually. Actually, the cats that do come here, which are going to be one of them's long term fostered by us. There's two cats called we call them Charles and Camilla, and they're going to be in the book 3 actually, and they're just going to be called somebody else's cat. So,
Brilliant. Love it.
so we've got the
Oh,
black and white cat. Yeah, the black and white cat in the story. That's my cat, who got run over sadly like 3 years ago. So, but he was nearly 17. So, yeah, I want to
good
show you
age.
one other thing actually.
Please do.
Yeah. So in the second book, the main character is a character called Honesty, and Honesty is an actual plant. I don't know if you know. I don't know the real name of it, but everyone, if you know plants, you know Honesty. And I'm going to show you a leaf of an Honesty plant. It's just you see it there. So
Oh, hang on. Try that again. It froze a bit then. Apologies to everybody trying to watch this on video then. Ah, yeah, got it. Got it. Yeah, a little bit more lower
can
if you
you
can. Yeah. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
there? You see it?
It's got but
I'll
move. Can you
send you a
move down?
picture of
Yeah, send me
it.
a picture. It might be easier. I'll make sure it gets attached onto the
I'll send you a
video.
picture of it. So they get the honesty plants. They take 2 years to grow. So these plants that are growing now, they were reseeded from 2 years ago, from not last summer, the summer before. And then this year, they're gonna. I wonder if I've got any. They're gonna grow into really big purple, spiky, like tall, spiked flower stems. And when the plants are finished, when the flowers are finished, they have some people call them silver pennies, like seed pods. But I might have some. Yeah, I've got one here. Let me just snap one off. If you recognise these,
Brilliant.
that's honesty.
Brilliant
You
stuff.
recognise
Yeah.
it
I'm
from your
useless with that stuff.
childhood.
Probably, yeah. It's like a fairy thing, but I'm not. That's not my expertise at all. That, but wow.
Yeah. So that's honesty, and that's where honesty got in it.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah,
Nice. Oh, fantastic. Now, obviously,
sliding in the snow.
yeah. Now that gives us a good feel for what the books have come from there, definitely with that one.
Yeah,
Now, obviously, the book itself, we know there's two at the minute, and I know there's at least a third on the way. And
yeah.
but tell us a bit more about. You told me obviously when we talked pre-camera last week about the backgrounds of these books, didn't you? So it's like you've come to it like I am, a bit later in life. Had it this book's always been there growing up, do you reckon, or it just sneaked to the surface after your freelance work right calmed down a bit temporarily?
Funny you should say that because, like, about 20 years ago, my granddad said I should write a book. He kept saying to me, write a book, write a book. And I was like, 20 years ago, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to write about. So that was shelved at the back of my mind. But I've always been, I love fairy stories. I've always loved, and I think fairies are real actually. So I think
I
they
do
do
as well.
exist. And how can you not, even if they don't, how can you not believe it just for the sake of believing something? So, yeah, so I've always like really, really loved fairy stories. And I mean, the second story, the story of the lost squirrel, that there's like a couple of fairy stories in there that I've retold. Um, yeah, I just love them.
Yeah,
But
no.
as for writing a book, no. I mean, when we spoke a couple of days ago, and I was saying I didn't go to college for art when I was younger, but I did get a degree in biochemistry.
It's typical that. Now, yeah, we better mention obviously you mentioned about the art thing, obviously, because both books have got some
Yeah,
fantastic drawings in them. And you told me obviously a couple of days ago, didn't you? Like the drawings just come naturally to the voice of the book, didn't they? Really,
yeah,
and the beautiful,
yeah, yeah.
beautiful stuff.
Yeah, so when I was writing the first book, and I was like, oh yeah, and I was thinking, yeah, they need a bit of picture or something, and I thought, or should I get someone to do it for me? And then I thought, no, because if someone did it and they didn't do it the way I wanted it to be, it would just be awkward. So I thought I'll just do it myself, and I just got a pencil and I just drew a squirrel, and then just drew another one and kept drawing them, and that's how it all
Yeah,
turned out.
yeah, I get it completely. And if people look at the illustrations in it, is that the full book of look, the full book, as with the drawings in me, is a big labour of love for, it, and it shows in it completely.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like
Oh, do
I,
you think?
yeah, I do. I think you can tell like you've definitely really enjoyed doing it. It means a lot to you.
Oh, I do. Oh, I
Yeah.
do. Do you know what? I've not for the third book. I did. So I've planned. I planned it all out about over the summer, basically. After the second book had been published, after I'd published it myself. Actually, it's not been published. Um, and so I planned it all out, and I didn't look at it until maybe like just before Christmas. Opening it, it's like seeing old friends, all friendly, and like we've got new Cosmos in. I'm like, oh my god, these all my old friends are all here in this folder.
Does it?
Oh yeah, it
The
is.
full thing really came to life. In fact, the full of the book it did, and that's what I think is really, really charming about it. Now, I know you told me as well, didn't you? This surprised you, and it surprised me actually a bit. Was there is definitely a Wind in the Willows sort of feel to this, except it's set in Chorlton. But you hadn't even read Wind in the Willows, had you? Until was it three-quarters away from the first book?
Oh no, oh no, that was Watership Down.
I Watership Down.
It was
Apologise.
Watership Down. Yeah,
Watership Down. Apologise.
Watership
Yeah,
Down.
that was it.
Yeah.
Apologise.
I've actually I've got a strange fact about Watership Down actually that you might find interesting.
Oh yeah, what's that?
So if you search Watership Down banned, like so it was apparently it was banned in China. The book was banned in China in 1965, but it wasn't actually published until 1971. So how does that work?
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
That's strange that.
Oh, that is very, very strange indeed. Oh, good grief, yeah. I see what you mean by that. Yeah, it's
That's really
bizarre. I'll look into that,
I
definitely,
mean, look
because,
at it yourself.
yeah, yeah, definitely look into that, because
How does that work?
yeah, I've read the original Warship Down when I was a kid, because I'm old enough to remember it, and I read it when I was about 10. It was like, it's quite a shocking book in some ways, but then, like, you watch
Yeah,
the cartoon's beautiful, man. I was less keen on the remake, but that's a story another day, that's, so, yeah.
yeah,
But I know, wow, completely. Now, obviously, like I said to you, I think the key here is background with this. Obviously, with all your background there, your garden showing it to you. It's like I love the
yeah,
fact it's set in Chorlton itself, and if you know
yeah.
Chorlton, you'll soon know it is. It's purely Chorlton. And do you find like setting it in
Yeah.
some like a background area you know really well? has it brought the book alive for you more, is it? Particularly in the first one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, the cemetery, obviously, Southern Cemetery. The park is Chorlton Park. The health food shop is Holland and Barrett in Chorlton.
Got that, yeah. Got that completely. That's what I mean. It's just like it's just something that's I think it's just something that's naturally very English and what you've done and you've really brought it to life like that. And I think it's brilliant.
Yeah,
You encourage people
yeah,
with this and it works really well to do both the books here. It's the fact is like you've
yeah,
actually done it and if people look at this, they will see they'll make you look at an area in a different way. Because Chorlton is such a
yeah,
green area anyway, if you know where to
yeah,
look.
yeah, definitely. Well, Wuhan Wood is an actual wood. Wuhan Wood, that's where Narcissa lives. It is an actual wood, and it's at Huff End. So apparently, some years ago, Manchester City Council and they made some sort of friendship with China, and then they planted this wood. This well, it's not really a wood. It's like a group of trees, basically. I suppose, yeah, it's a wood, and they called it Wuhan Wood. But I don't think anyone would ever know about this. And it's if you're walking down you used to call it Princess Parkway or Princess Road. I have always called it Princess Parkway because I'm old.
I am as well. So I said, it's like I worked up at the top in the Bench Hill in Wythenshawe for a while, and I used to get the bus down from there every day from the back of where I lived with my
Yeah.
parents in Stretford. So yeah, it's Princess Parkway to me. So yeah, they like it or not, yeah,
So if you go there on the side of where they built the new leisure centre and you look, that's where Wuhan Wood is. It's in sort of in between the cemetery and all the allotments and the new leisure centre. And it's the only thing that you can see that it's got any indication that it's called that. It looks like a gravestone, believe it or not. And it says it's got like the explanation of the Wuhan Wood. I should have took a picture. I should have gone up there actually and found more details. Oh,
I'll tell you what
I
we'll
mean,
do.
this was years
I'll
ago.
tell you what we'll do, Andrea. I promise you this now, okay? People wonder it's exclusive. This when it gets a bit nicer, I'll come up to your area and we'll meet up.
Oh
We'll go.
yeah,
We'll,
I'll
we'll
show
do.
you all of
What?
that.
I'll bring Amanda, my wife, down because she loves good nature.
Yeah,
And then we can do
yeah.
like an audio talk and you can walk it around places like that and we can have a look at it, the three of us. So I promise you that now, right? We'll sort that out.
Oh yeah, that'll be really good. Ron Cemetery is.
Definitely that one. I've not moved your side of Chorlton for ages. So yeah, brilliant. Anyway, that's for the future, right? But yeah. Like I said to you, it's like, when did you know, obviously, with the books, it was going to be a series? Did you know that right from the beginning, or?
Yeah, I did. I did. But I didn't know how many books it was going to be because sometimes I got a bit ambitious, thinking there could be 10 books out of this. But
Could be?
and then well, there might be because I mean, there could be a lot of offshoots all over. So I
Yeah,
mean, there's a lot of squirrels. You're never going to run out of squirrels.
no.
So and yeah, but the third book because I've got it all planned out. The third book, and I was going to do a fourth book. I've not. I've not actually written. I've not written the whole of the third book, so you'll have to wait and see for that one. What's going to happen? I
Yeah,
don't know.
we'll come back to
I've
that.
not made my
We'll
mind.
come on to that. And what's next? Okay, and at the end, near the end of the
Yeah, it
podcast,
could
won't.
be a big cliffhanger, or yeah, might be. There's a big shocker in the third book. It's shocking.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
We'll leave that. We'll
not
leave that alone for the
traumatizing.
moment because I want to know a bit more
Yeah.
about the second book first of all, the story of the lost squirrel.
All right. Okay.
Okay, we'll talk a bit more
Yeah.
of that first. We'll go on to the third one then. So I want to make sure people know about this. We've hinted before, like Holland and Barrett comes into the shop, but actually comes into the second book, and also some other human-made things as well. But what made you want to bring in the Holland and Barrett as a brand, which I love anyway? So there's no bad mouthing it. It's a great brand. I called
No,
it the
yeah, they
Health
are.
Shop. What made you want to bring that into the second book?
Well, if a squirrel, well, because I mean, where would you go if you was a squirrel and you needed to go somewhere to get your nuts and your fruits and your bits and stuff? Where would you go? You'd go to the health food shop, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
You would go there.
I like it.
That's where that came from. Yeah, and then they get into the roof space, and it's obviously insulated. And when Friendly gets in there, because he's the like the architect and the builder for all the squirrels, and he finds that it's got this insulation in it, and he's like in awe because he wants to bring all the insulation out and insulate everyone's drays with all the
Oh,
insulation from the health food shop.
fantastic.
See,
No,
leave space. Yeah, poor Friendly has a bad time. He fell out of his dray when he was a baby. He falls. Big Al pushes him out of the tree, and he falls out of the tree there in book one. And then in book two, he falls through the ceiling of the health food shop.
I noticed that. Oh, he's that. There's an innocence behind it that I absolutely love. Because the fact is, like, he absolutely causes chaos, but it just doesn't seem to stop him, does it? It's to,
Yeah, because there's a display of protein powders, and he falls into the protein powders, and obviously he goes woof, and some of them there's just protein powder dust everywhere, and he's just like in a big mess, and he doesn't know
no.
where he is. And
Oh, it's just cute. Yes, but you think you need that sort of adventure in made in a character like him anyway, because it's the innocence and like if you don't have someone like he's like a damsel in distress, or he's just
he is.
or a clown. Actually, you could argue as well, like a Charlie Chaplin sort of clown, isn't it? Really, because you know when you're reading the book, the one character is going
Yeah.
to cause bedlam, whether he ends up needing rescues or he's causing chaos, and that's him for you.
Yeah, but he's his character, he thinks he's like the king of the squirrels. And he's got this book, the Book of the Ancestors, and he knows all the answers to everything because he reads this book, and he can help all the squirrels, and he's a really good builder as well. And he thinks he's absolutely God's gift to squirrels, but he's just a disaster. He just
I
gets into all
I
sorts of
like it.
stuff.
I like it for that reason, Event. It's because it really has something to it. Like it's a delusional. That's the word I'm going to use for, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant with that one. So, but yeah, no, I agree with you completely with that. Now, something I wanted to mention with this, obviously, you told me before on pre-recording, I didn't know about. Obviously, there's a black and white cat in the book, isn't there? And that obviously was
Yeah,
your cat, wasn't it? It was you lost sadly a couple of years ago.
yeah. That's the magic cat. He knows everything as well. He's very quiet. You won't see a lot of him actually. You don't see him in the second book, but you see him again in the third. So he goes on his holiday in the second book. There's a big food shortage in the second book, and poor Honesty, she is so wrapped up with everything that's going on. She's making mountains out of molehills basically, and she thinks because someone said, "Oh, there's a food shortage," she is like, "There's a food shortage." She doesn't even look at any
Yeah.
other option. There's a food shortage, so she's panicking. She works at the newspaper, so she's getting all this information, and she's just like wrapped up in what's going on without looking at a big picture. So,
Yeah, that's another
and
point
then
we
of
need to
course she
mention.
gets.
Should have read about in the newspaper. What made you want to put a squirrel in a newspaper? That's a note. That is a note, that one.
Well, the newspaper is like social media to us, and that's like squirrel social media. So, and the squirrels are all telling the newspaper like what's going on, and there's obviously a reason why there is a newspaper, and you'll know that in the end. So that's slash like a slight so, but they exaggerate it, and obviously, um, well, Narcissus was stealing all the babies, and we all know this from the start. And nobody knows that it's her that's stealing the babies. So there's like the point of view from the squirrels, like what's going on, where are all these babies going? And and then the newspaper is trying to figure out who is taking these babies. And once you realise it's Narcissa, that's it
There's
really. But
things
poor
to come.
Narcissa, she comes to a bit of a sticky end, or maybe not.
Or maybe not. Wait and see. When we get to book 20, you might bring her back to life like a zombie squirrel or something. Or should we say, right? We'll leave that. We'll
Yeah.
leave that for the future, right? Definitely. But yeah, brilliant stuff indeed. Now, obviously, start winding down. Then, obviously, I want to. Is there much you want to tell us about book three then so far? Then, have you got a title for book three even?
Yeah, well, at the minute it's called The Tale of the Time,
Oh, I like that.
and yeah, The Tale of the Time, and it's set in Scotland again, You'll
course.
know all the places once again. Still there, still in the abundant garden, which is based on this garden. Um, Friendly is the hero in book three. That's all I'm gonna say about that. He is a hero. So you might think he's a bumbling, clown, but he comes out trumps in book
Yeah.
three.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean with it. I think sometimes with that is you're giving him he eventually comes into his own, doesn't he? And it's always, I think there always is with a character and a main character,
Yeah,
but they've got to go for a journey. And I think that does make sense, to be honest, with you, straight away to me. That's all brilliant stuff. So, no,
yeah.
brilliant.
So yeah, so the book actually, I've not mentioned this, but my freelance work, I transcribe TV and I do a lot of
Oh,
reality TV shows. And if you're in a reality TV show, you've got to speak in present tense, and so many people struggle with it. And the book is written in present tense. And for that, well, not for that reason, but the Friendly Show, every time I put squirrels on Instagram, I was like, welcome to the Friendly Show in the
oh,
beginning. So
brilliant.
that's where the Friendly Show came from. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
a
need
great.
to start posting.
That's a great idea. That indeed. No, it's. I wish you all the best of it, Andrea, straight away with it. So, but like I say, it's because I've loved the
Oh,
first two myself, and I can highly recommend them. I give them both 5 out of 5, and good reason. I don't always do that, but do
oh, I'm
you?
glad you like. I'm really pleased you like him. Everyone who's read him, they're like, oh yeah, we like him. My next door neighbor, the new little girl who lives next door, she's read the first book and she's like, oh, I love it, I just love it.
Yeah, it's
So
just it's
she's not read
very
this. I've not given her the second one yet.
it's very
I've not seen
individual.
her.
Oh, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
like you said before. Like it's you've done two now, and you definitely there can be a third. You're not sure yet whether what you're gonna do beyond that yet. But you're right. When
you've
you're looking
not.
at what you're doing around there, there's so much scope. You could set it
Yeah,
anywhere else, couldn't you? Even really around that area, the other squirrels, and maybe
I
even
know. This.
and maybe other animals. Even who knows?
Well, there's a lot of animals in like the Book of the Ancestors. There's a lot of animals. We've got Harper the Hedgehog and Singing Frog. You've got the Badgers, which is another retelling of the Magic Porridge Pot. Uh, before we go, I've got to recommend a book, and it's called Chinese Fairy Tales, and it's like I was reading it the other day actually, and it's a big hard book
Oh yeah,
with a
yeah,
beautiful cover. And Ken came in. He was like, "What you reading? You reading the Bible?" I was like, "No, it's the Chinese fairy tales." And there's a little fairy tale in that book, which is where I found, which is what gave me the idea of the badgers in book two, and it's called The Magic Cask. And if you ever get that book, you read it, you think, "Oh my God!" Like,
yeah.
those Chinese fairy tales are like, "Ooh,
Yeah, I've heard about the should we say a bit different to the European ones that we may be used to. That's for sure with it. That's a good way of putting it straight away.
yeah."
No,
Poor granddad
brilliant.
gets kicked into the cask, and they're like, "You've got to get all the dead granddads out." He keels over and falls in the cask, and all the dead granddads are all piling up. And that
Oh, oh, wonderful. Grisly,
was our
but
yeah,
wonderful. Oh God, completely. Oh
good
wow.
book.
No,
Really good.
that's fantastic, that indeed. Now, obviously, I want to talk about lastly, I want to get on before we give you little tell people and get hold of you and stuff. There's a wonderful little video on your Instagram, and I want people to know about this. 'Cause I think it's a brilliant story of what I told you about before, your cat you've kind of adopted, and it shows your
Oh yeah,
relationship with squirrels, where you got your adopted cat with you sat with you. It was a beautiful
yeah.
ginger cat, and you're trying to
Oh no,
feed
that's
one of
not
this.
the one.
Oh, is that the wrong
Yeah,
one?
that's
Oh,
Charlie. That's
sorry.
Charles. We've got
Apologize.
Charles. Yeah. Well, that
Apologize,
Charles just
Charlie.
yeah, no, Charles goes home at night and Camilla stays. But Charles is I'm surprised they're not here actually. I'm surprised there's no squirrels and there's no cats because that's all that's here. Maybe I'm talking too loud or something, I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
no,
just
that's
going to.
Charles.
Oh, apologies, my
Yeah.
fault. Well, the video anyway is
No,
basically you're feeding one of your squirrels, and
yeah.
Charlie sat with you. And I'm thinking to myself all
Yeah.
along, I thought, there's no way that squirrel's going to come near you with a cat sat next to you, and he did, didn't he?
Did, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
that's why.
Well, a
But
couple of the squirrels are really, really tame. And one of them actually comes into the living room and sits on the chair and sits
oh,
next to me and takes notes.
Oh,
Can't
that's,
in the summer. I can't keep the windows open because he just comes in.
oh, you can't,
If
oh,
you ever hear
completely.
a squirrel, if you ever hear a squirrel in your house, you know it's a squirrel because it. I mean, they're only like tiny little creatures, but they've got big back legs, and they really they sound like elephants in your house. We actually one time we had a squirrel actually in the roof space of the house. That this was years and years ago, and yeah, that was traumatic. I don't recommend like yeah, I don't think my mum always says, "Oh, I don't have squirrels in the house," but like there's only one, and he only comes in, gets a nut, goes
Yeah.
again. It's not like
Yeah,
he's
well,
chewing through the wires and all that. Like everyone says, you'll have to, squirrels chewing through your wires and everything. They don't. They just take the nut and go.
well, if he started coming in with his 25 brothers and stuff, then it might be time to get worried a little bit there, I suppose, wouldn't it? So,
Yeah, no, it doesn't. There's only one.
oh, one, you can one's all right, John, yourself. Brilliant stuff of it.
Yeah.
Do you have any indications to wrap up with when book three is going to be ready? 'Cause I know you're writing it. You told me that before, didn't you?
Well, yeah, well, I'm gonna go to Spain again in the summer. But I'm not gonna take it. I've already got the inspiration, so I'm hoping. Well, I've got plans that it's going to be done by September, by the end of September this year.
Brilliant. Fingers crossed. Fingers
So
crossed.
when actually, yeah, well, when it's out in September, like the end of September, that we can do that walk around.
Yes, please.
I'll
We'll
show you.
sort. Yeah, love to.
Yeah.
I'll mention it to Amanda and notice we'll both come down for that
Oh,
because it's. I know what she's like with
yeah.
country walks, and particularly if we tell her like you go and see some squirrels. There's potentially squirrels. She'll be straight down there. Yeah, we'll sort that out. I promise you. Promise you. And then please notice there will be. I won't say live, but we'll be a recording on my phone definitely. So for that one. Now, Andrea, obviously,
Yeah.
where can people get hold of your books first of all? Then, the people who are interested, and
Um, on
I recommend it.
on Amazon, Amazon. But I
Brilliant.
think yeah, Amazon is the best place. Amazon. Yeah.
Great stuff. Okay. And also as well then, obviously, to where can people, we've mentioned several pages, haven't we, on social media. Do you want to remind people again what they were?
What my Instagram?
Yeah,
Instagram is Andrea in the garden is Instagram. I think it's Andrea dot in dot the dot garden.
yeah,
Facebook is Andrea Hailwood. I've got a YouTube channel, but there's not much on there at the minute. Maybe that'll change. But Instagram, and then I've got another Instagram page which is just for Friendly, and that's just called Friendly the Squirrel.
yeah.
So
Which is well, where
yeah,
that's loved both of them, and
yeah,
that one particular was brilliant. It was so yeah, recommend them both
yeah,
definitely. So great
yeah.
stuff. Thank you again, Andrea. It's been a pleasure today, and I look
Okay,
forward to hopefully meeting you in person later on this year. Definitely,
yeah,
all been
well,
well. So definitely when that
I'm
one's
really glad you like the books, and thanks for reading them.
yeah, they're a
I'm glad
pleasure.
you like them.
Been a pleasure. Absolutely. They were just something, I think, it's always worth people noting in the book market nowadays to get hold of something that is just original. It really was original. You had your own voice in the books, and I thought myself, instead of us people wondering, it's no, it's brilliant. Absolutely. I can well recommend
Glad
them.
you like them.
So,
Thank you.
okay, guys and girls, yes, that's it for Spoken Label today. Thank you again to Andrea. We're going to chat a little bit further, but thanks again, Andrea. As Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe and stay over. And if you listen to this when the snow's coming down, keep warm as well. We'll see you all soon.